Maybe let's just wait some few minutes for see if
People to come in. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, so I'm just gonna type here. Kindly let us know. Oh, all right, so it will take some time for people to get a feed that we've started.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fine.
so um, maybe we can start whilst they join us.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome everybody on board. This is the first time I'm having Dr. Tania on the line. And so, to introduce Dr. Tania has recently been successful on step two. We'll give her the chance to introduce herself and tell us more about herself. And now that step two has is what the program directors are looking at right now, because step one has become a pass or fail. It's very important that we talk about it, and a lot of people are taking a shorter time for the step one and focusing more on the step two. So I think that is the reason why I brought Dr. Tania here to come and tell us her experience with the step two, so that we can use opportunity to help more and more people to be successful on the USMLE Step 2. So, Dr. Tania, you are welcome to the USMLE Booster channel. And this channel we dedicated to help a lot of people. So far, we have 3,000 followers. We started the channel in 2021 August, when I became successful on step one, and I felt like I wanted to use this platform to help a lot of people. Like, because when I started, I didn't have a lot of information on steps. I wasn't even going to write it at all. I wasn't going to take the step at all. But
Mhm.
since I started, I saw that if I knew a lot about it already, or if I had someone to give me information, I would have decided when I was in the medical school to
Mhm.
write. But I completed before. And then when I had the opportunity to move to the US, then I'm like, okay, if I'm coming to the US, then I have to sit for the steps. So it wasn't my original plan, because when you watch YouTube, people present it like it's not doable, like it's so difficult, like American grads are so smart, that like it's just not doable. So that was the perception in my med school. So we didn't.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So, Dr. Tania, let's give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. We have 7 people joining us now. And if you all can let us know where you are watching from. And I know my viewers are global. I don't have a specific location. They're all over the world.
That's great. That's
And
great.
yeah, and tell us what step you are also studying for. That would be very helpful. So,
So,
Dr. Tell us about yourself, your medical school, and whatever you want to tell us.
so I've actually done my MBBS from India. I am um, I am Canadian citizen, but I decided to do my MBBS from India. So my medical school was done in India, and I am a green card holder here. So I guess that kind of makes it easier for me. But again, everyone had made this a big deal, like, oh, USMLEs, they're the toughest exam, you can't pass it. I think everyone I knew was just so in the rat race that they made it look so difficult that I got really scared of giving it too. But now that I'm over it, I can understand other people's thoughts about it. But so I decided to give my step two CK before my step one, because I do feel like my clinical knowledge was more than my basic knowledge. And I volunteered a lot with doctors back home in India and over here in America. And that was the reason I gave my step two exam before my step one. And I was successful, I would say, relatively. It wasn't that, oh, you need to give your step one before your step two. Everyone was telling me it couldn't be done, that you
Okay.
couldn't give your step two before your step one. But I did do it. And I think it wasn't that difficult because of the way I studied
Okay.
and because of the help I had of other people studying too.
Yeah, well, thank you. We'll come to that. We'll come to like whatever resources that you used. So, did you finish the medical school before you started your USMLE journey?
Yes, I did. Actually, I had to complete my internship during COVID, and because of that, like my exams got postponed. Getting a degree in between, and I've had a lot of pit stops, a lot of obstacles, as we all do, to come over that. Yeah.
I remember during my step one when the COVID outbreak came out. So, like we had that it's not even mandatory. Like we had the chance to postpone our exam. Like they gave us a full 1 year, and I took advantage of it, and so
Oh,
that more. Yeah. So COVID, I'll say like for me it was good and it was bad at the same time for me. Yeah.
yeah. I think for everyone, yes, definitely understand.
Yes. So my next question to you is, um, so let's go straight into this, and then if anyone has any question, you can also put it in the comment, and Dr. Tania is going to answer it. So was it hard, like registering for the USMLE? Was it difficult? Was there any restrictions that you faced?
I think it was more difficult from my college side because being in India, the whole getting your documents together is way different from here, from the States and India. So, me having to communicate with my college to giving my documents on time, that was the only difficulty I had because of COVID. I wasn't physically present, but from this USMLE side, and they were pretty clear and sure. Like I think there's no difficulty from their side.
Okay. And then also from your medical school, do you have predecessors who have written, like who have taken the USMLE in the past?
Yes, I do know a few people. I don't know a lot of people actually. I only know a handful of people that gave their USMLEs. I did know them, but I didn't talk to them much about their experience.
Okay, and they are already practicing the US, if you know.
Yes, one of my seniors, she's practicing in the US in the States. One of my juniors, he's practicing in Texas, El Paso.
So
So, yeah, I do know a few people.
that is a cool thing. For my side, like I did my med school in China, Hebei North, in
Oh,
China.
wow.
Um, a few people have taken step one, but I happen to be the first person to take step two.
Wow.
Yeah, currently, if someone has done it in the past, I don't know, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm the first person, and yeah, I'm also trying to use this platform to encourage most of
That,
my most of the people there. And so I did it in China.
that's good.
Um, so I want to know, like, what was your mindset about USMLE before you started the journey versus now?
Oh my god, it was like a monster to me basically. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's so difficult. You can't do it. I don't know how I did it, blah blah blah." But once I started studying and I started getting support of other people that were studying and we, combined our knowledge or we had study partners, it got easier for me and the anxiety kind of just came down right before my exam because I knew that this is all I could do. I couldn't study more than this. So
Right.
I went in with that attitude.
Okay. And did you like okay before that? Like, how long did you study for the whole step two?
Okay, so I'll tell you my journey actually really started um I would say the beginning of last year. So January was when I actually started studying and I gave my exam in October.
So January of which year?
January of 2022.
2022. You gave it in October.
Yeah.
So that's like 9 months thereabout.
Yeah. I think we just had a question we missed.
Okay, let's look at it. You can just swipe down the screen a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
A bit. Yeah, so dreaming it, if I got that right, he's
Uh,
asking she. So I'm gonna read it out. It's saying, "How did you stay organized when reviewing step two concepts?" I feel like all over the place. Like it feels like it's all over the place. Like with other subjects, you have 10 lectures to review for the test, but for step two, it's so much info. Doctor
I
Tab. What's your experience
I
with
can
that?
understand. For me, it was very, very difficult too. But once I kind of made a schedule and a plan, basically, you have to have a plan. And sometimes you can't be 100% on that plan. But even if you're 80%, it's better than zero, right? So, what I would do is I used to study system wise. So, CVS, endo, and et cetera, GI. So, I would focus my time on doing systems before my dedicated started, and
Okay.
then I would combine all of the information at the end when I was doing my dedicated period, when I was
Mhm.
doing self assessments, basically.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. But what we are going to do now is like I want to ask you my questions first, and we'll then take
Okay. All
so
right.
it
Okay.
goes, so it goes orderly. Then we
Okay.
so I'll take question from everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So you told us your like your mindset about the exam before like you really started it. How long was your prep? You told us about that also. And what materials did you use for step 2 CK?
I used Boards and Beyond, Divine Interventions,
Okay.
um, and UWorld. UWorld was the most important thing. I think it is still the most important thing. I try to use Amboss, but I feel like Amboss made me overthink a lot, so I stepped back from that towards the end, and mostly just UWorld, Divine Intervention, and the self assessments, and BMEs and CMS forms. Yeah.
You did CMS form. Did you finish all the CMS forms?
I did actually do a lot of them, to be honest. I don't know if I finished all of them, but I felt like if these are the questions that are being sent over by NBMEs,
Yeah.
that we should probably study them more than Amboss. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I think with my experience, I tried because like each of them was like $20. I tried to
You can get it online on Telegram. I don't know if I'm
like
supposed to. Yeah.
you mean offline. I mean, yeah, that's what people do. But I, for my experience, like I love to do it online so that I can simulate the exam.
Oh, okay.
Everything online. Like I didn't do. I think it's only the old NBMs that I'll do offline. Yeah. But so I made sure to do like three three let's say sets of questions from each of the subjects. So if it's internal medicine, I'll do three CMS forms, and those that I got incorrect, and then even if I got it correct and I feel like it's complex, I'll write it on a paper and then
Hmm.
later put the paper into my flashcards, and that really helped with my revision. That's what I did.
That,
Um,
that's
yeah.
good.
And Dr. Tanya, so you told us about the materials. Did you have a study partner?
I really didn't have a study partner as if versus a study group. We had a WhatsApp group, and honestly, that was a godsend to me because everyone was so helpful and they were just discussing questions, and the way we discussed it, we got into details. And I feel like if you don't have a partner, at least you should be in a group to discuss your doubts because the only way to learn is to teach, and vice versa.
So how is that group like? Was it how many people were in it, and how was the?
Um, I'm not sure about how many people, but people were active. That's what was really important for me is that we were active throughout the day. Even now, they're active, and I'm still in the group
Okay,
because they still help me so much that if anyone asks me for questions, I would help them.
is that group open to people to join?
I think so. I can send you a link if you want to put it in your
The video
video.
later on?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
send.
yeah. If that's accepted by the group members, you can share with us. So I'll put it.
Yeah,
So everyone watching will put that. We'll put that link under the video. And I also have a group on WhatsApp, a USMLE Booster Study Partner group, where you just come in there and find a study partner and then take them out and study with them. You don't study on the page, but you find a compatible study partner in there. So I'll put that link also under this video and when we are done.
and sorry, before I forget, another thing that really helped me was the Reddit group. There's a Reddit group on Step 2 CK, and a lot
Yeah.
of people post their doubts there. And if I was confused about something, I would search it in the Reddit group, seeing if anyone has already answered the doubt.
Okay. Yeah, Reddit is a very big community, and I feel like it was very, very helpful,
Hmm.
mostly for my step two, but even though I was part of the step one group, uh,
Yeah, Step
yeah,
2 is they were more active in Step
it was
2.
more active. Yes. Yeah. And then what I like about it is how everyone will come and post their scores like every Wednesday. to come around. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
do
Oh
it.
my god, that was really scary too. Honestly, yeah, yeah, yeah. The score update, yes, yes. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
the anxiety before your scores come. That's really real. Mm.
Yeah. So if you are someone who has not heard about the Reddit Step 2 or Step 1 group, you want to go and join them. They are very, very important, like to help you maintain that community of medical students, and you share ideas with them. If you don't understand anything, you miss any question, you can put it there. You always find someone to explain to you. And yeah, that helps. It's better than staying in your room all by yourself and you don't know what is going on in the outside world.
No, you definitely need a lot of support morally, not only from medical students, but your family at least, because it's a tough exam, and I feel like being alone makes you isolate yourself a lot. So it's like you have to balance this kind of life, you
Co-
know, or else
Correct.
it can be very depressing. It can.
Mm. Yeah. So Farouk is asking if we can send the link now. It will be difficult because we are using a cell phone. Once we go back, the video is gonna end, and so there's a new thing on YouTube. So we are not able to go. But right after we finish this session, I'm going to update the description so you can look it up. Okay. And thanks for understanding. What would you say was the most important thing that helped you?
UWorld.
You world.
Use it as a study resource as well, because you can make Anki cards on UWorld.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if UWorld is used as a study resource, not only just as an assessment, you will learn a lot. I think I did UWorld at least twice or thrice. I
Okay,
mean, probably not thrice, but at least twice.
awesome. So, do you feel like some of the concepts on you've not done step 1 yet, but so I cannot, you'll not be the right person. But for me, if I want to answer that, I would say yes, there were some of the concepts that were from step 1 that are on step 2. So, you are yet to write a step 1.
Yes,
It's
but I remember that there were some questions that feel like, oh my god, this is like really basic science, and
correct,
yeah.
correct.
But
So,
that yeah, that's not a lot of them. So I don't want to scare anyone here. That's not a lot of them.
yeah,
Just
it's not the like the genetics, the biochemistry. You don't find those ones. But for medicine, where if you did step 1 and you're able to get an answer on, let's say, rheumatoid arthritis, correct. In step 2, you will need extra thinking in order to get it, because I feel like for some of the conditions, they'll tell you like like more signs and symptoms that maybe you've never seen before, or they'll tell you that okay, even though this is true in this, they told you that in step 1, step 2 is not
I
true.
exactly. I know what you mean. They also put in red herrings. So basically, all of the symptoms will match one thing or one disease, but then there'll be one line that'll be like, "Oh wait, that doesn't sound like the thing." But those are just to throw you off. Don't like ever think you are wrong. Always make your judgment based on the overall picture rather
Correct.
than that one thing that will throw you off.
Correct. So will you say generally it's doable, right?
Yeah, it is doable. If you are confident and your assessment scores are where you want to be, I would suggest everyone to take the exam if they are confident with their assessment scores. Yes.
Yeah. I always say trust your NBMS.
Mm.
There are few people who are able to, even though they are doing not doing very well on the NBMS, they still pass. But for most people, NBMS are predictive.
Yes, I feel like they are pretty predictive, and it's like if you postpone it, it gives you more anxiety and it gives you more of an uncertainty. And I know that some people are really not good at taking exams. It's just that they get really scared when they see that, oh, I got this one question wrong. Like, you get into that constant cycle of negativity, and it makes you feel like you're getting every question wrong. But you need to realize out of 300, you're not going to get 318 or 316 right. There will be some that you get wrong. And to get into the practice of giving exams, that's very important towards the end.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for that. So those who are listening, you shouldn't overthink. You shouldn't spend too much time. Just do it fast and then go take it. You'll be fine. Just follow what we are telling you. Whatever we are sharing, make sure you are making sense out of it, and then follow our leads. You would be fine because we've seen it all. So my next question is gonna be, what did you do like in your final weeks? If you want to talk to us about your dedicated and also like your final 1 week.
So I tried towards my dedicated, I tried to integrate all the information instead of doing it system wise. I started doing it randomly. And I also focused on my weak subjects more. For example, endocrine was weak for me, or renal was weak for me. Some things I would keep mixing up. The algorithms, those are
Yeah,
very important. So I feel like the algorithms in endocrine, like for TSH, thyroid, and everything, they
yeah,
would kind of confuse me. So I went over the algorithms, the tables in
mm,
New World, and I focused on my weak subjects, and the stronger ones kept on. The ones that were right, I tried to just leave them be. I already knew. I trusted myself in that judgment, and towards the end, I try to do divine interventions. I feel like divine interventions good for people who are audio listeners, but I'm more of a visual learner. So I would get distracted by just like someone was talking, be like, okay, I'm just zoned out now. So what I did was there's a PDF file online for divine interventions. I downloaded that and I started listening to him along with that. And I just focused on U World, NBMEs, and CMS. Those
okay.
were three things that really helped me the most during this exam. And Amboss is a good add-on, but I feel like towards the end, don't do that. If you're starting it from the beginning, that's fine, but don't be like, oh, let me just do this and this and this. Just keep it very simple, keep it very focused, and keep it organized. Because the more you try to reach out to other resources, kind of um, pull back from the ones you're already using, and
Yes.
it gets really messy, and that's where the anxiety comes in.
Yeah. It's always advisable to have limited resources.
Hmm.
If you end up like reading from like every resource someone talks about, you're going to buy it. Like it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just learn well whatever you have.
Exactly. And UWorld and Boards and Beyond is more than enough for your basic knowledge. Even if you want to get into system wise, Boards and Beyond was very good. I like the way he presented the information.
Yeah. So that's what. And how about on the exam day? It's like itself. Like, do you remember like the exam day? Like, let's say day before, did you get your food ready? Did you get some protein bars? How did you allocate your time, your cheat sheets, and all that?
So the day before the exam, I felt like I had to just not study because it was just getting too much. Even if I was doing random questions here and there because you get that anxiety when you're not studying. I can understand because I am like that. If I'm not studying before the exam, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I doing right or wrong? But you just need to kind of relax. And because there's only a certain amount of information you can actually learn the day before, right? You've
Right.
already learned what you had learned before. It's always in our mind. It's just extracting that information during the exam is what counts. So you need to be very well rested, very well fed. Your mental state has to be a little calm. I know it's difficult to do, and I've been in that position, but I had to calm myself down because I was confident. I think if you're confident, it's easy to be calm and collected. And what I did was I took fruits, and I took coffee. Although
Yeah.
I did not need coffee, to be honest. I was already like, so let's go, let's go. You already have that adrenaline rush in you.
Yeah.
I thought I would need the coffee, but I really didn't. And in the exam day itself, it was very manageable. I was very surprised. I thought I wouldn't have time. I thought I would be running around. I thought I'd be freaking out. But somehow I still had 10 minutes after every block. I probably marked around 9 to 10 per block.
Mm-hmm.
And the things I didn't know, I didn't let them get to me. I'm like, okay, I'll just come to the end of it. But the things I did know, I was like, oh, yay, I know this. So that kind of builds up your confidence more. Just leave those things at the end. Don't focus on that. Focus on what you do know. And ethics, I feel like ethics, social science, and that was where it was like you're left between two choices.
Yeah.
And if you would trust your instincts as a physician, you would know the right answer. It was more like a physician's instinct rather than this is the hard fact.
Correct.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. So I was happy. I was good.
Awesome. So so would you say you are someone who is a fast reader? Like to have 9 minutes on every block left? Like just
I am. I read. I skim through the question. So this is my strategies for taking like, whenever I read a question, I would
yeah,
skim through the question. I would read the last line. I'd be like, okay, now I think I know what this person has. I know what the diagnosis is. Let me
yeah,
go back and see what they're asking properly. Then I would kind of in my mind like just focus on those things and get the answer. Yes, I am a fast reader. But another thing I wanted to say was for my cheat sheet, I did write just the what do you call them? The formulas for um, biostats, like
yes.
positive predictive value, negative predictive value, etc., etc. And I only used one, to be honest. It wasn't that hard.
I think you are even lucky to use one. I didn't need any of them. Like in my time, I wrote a
Mhm.
lot of down. Nah, I didn't need any of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
use any of them. So I think people shouldn't worry too much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If you are doing consistently well in your NBMEs, I
Yeah.
feel like you have nothing to worry about. It's more about confidence at that stage.
Mm,
Because if you get anxiety during the exam, it's going to really make you suffer. Even though you know the questions, even though you know the answers, I feel like we kind of doubt ourselves so much. That's what gets the best of us.
yeah. And I feel like people should really do that. Those NBMAs really, really do. Like you want to know where you are uh, before you go into the exam, so that in
Definitely.
the exam you also know like okay, the way you approach the NBMAs, are you approaching the exam also the same way, or you have to do something extra
Hmm.
because we're not doing well already, and you don't also know that you are not doing well. When you go into the exam, you will still be laid back instead of trying to like work harder. You know,
Yeah.
I remember an instance when I was doing my OET, and
Hmm.
so um, I think the first two, like section A and B, was 15 minutes, right? And then they allocated the 15 minutes together. But because I did not practice the OET reading at home before going to the exam, I was thinking that the 15 minutes was for section A. So I ended up not doing section B.
Oh
But
wow.
I knew that I'm deficient section C and D. I made sure I will get everything correct like that. So you have to know where you are so that you can know whether you have to work harder or you just put in the same effort.
Definitely. Like, for example, I knew some of my endocrine algorithms were not that strong. I focused on those during my dedicated. So, for your dedicated, if you focus on your weak points, I would think that will help you a lot.
Correct. And also there was one thing about those NBMAs. So there was a like let's say 2 days before my exam, I did the last NBME, the newest one that was added. So when I did, I scored very low on it. I got 225. And
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't demoralized, I was still going to take my test. But the things, all the questions that I missed, I reviewed all. I did not review those that I got correct. And I formed quick mnemonics about some, especially the thyroid conditions that came. And then when I went, like they were helpful because I just saw a similar question, and then I went to the exam and I saw the same thing. So people should really do the NBME. It's very important. Very
Yeah,
important.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Can we go to the next question? Like, how did you apportion your breaks during your step two exam?
Okay, so for me, I felt so guilty taking a break. I would feel like, okay, anytime I'm not studying, I would feel like, oh my God, I'm wasting my time. But that was not a healthy way to look at it. That's not good. I feel like you need to spend time with your friends and families at least once a week for, for your mental state to be completely normal, at least. I was yeah, it was good because I had family around me.
Yeah,
So I would study as much as I could during the week, but I would take one day off for myself. I would take a day off for myself. And sometimes when I couldn't study on days, I wouldn't feel too guilty about it. I feel like that was just self-destructive.
Correct.
So for instead of feeling guilty about it, just be like, okay, I took this many day off. Tomorrow I'll work harder.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, and you should work harder. Don't procrastinate. That's also bad. But if you do take time off, or if things don't go according to plan, it's okay. You have another day. We're still alive. We still have our brain. We still have support. We can do it. It's not the end of the world. I had to remind myself that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think sometimes like we think this is like it's like a do or die, for us. And
Well, for many people, it actually is. I can understand. It's like a lot of people. Um, I know a lot of people who are in very difficult situations, and they're giving their exams while they have kids at home, or they're married and all of that. And I can understand it becomes very, very difficult at that time. But if you have a strong support system, it keeps you going.
correct, correct. Yeah. So how about in the exam, like when you're taking your step two exam, like the breaks in between each block, how did you allocate? Do you remember?
I just took a break after each block, to be honest, except for the last one, because I was really just done. I just wanted to be done in the last two blocks. I just didn't want be taking breaks. I was the last one there because of our exam. You know how it is. And what I did was I tried to take breaks in between each sets
Mhm.
and just go out, eat, just go to the bathroom, walk around, all that anxiety, just listen to music or something, just to calm myself down, start with a fresh brain for the next block, and that helped. I just completely forgot what I did. I mean, not completely, but I let it go. That block went, it's gone. Let's go to the next one. I didn't think too much about it.
Yeah. Awesome. Because I think I did similar thing versus step one. I would do like two blocks before going for break. And during the second block, I'll feel like peeing. So like, my mind will be in the on the computer down there as well. So I made sure even if I don't feel like peeing, I will go to the bathroom and
Yeah.
just make something. Yeah. And personally for me, coffee makes me pee a lot.
It makes everyone pee. No, you're right.
Oh.
Everyone pee.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to coffee on that day. And the room is also cold, so you're
Mm.
not going to eat in any other form except everything will go into urine. So
Yeah, my exam center was here in Texas, like where I live in Texas.
okay.
Yours, where was yours? You in
Yeah,
Texas?
right here is like 7 minutes away from my house. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
I think one thing also that helped was to release anxiety. Like let's say 3 weeks before my exam, I'll just drive past the exam center. Just walk around the environment and know that I'll be coming here.
It's like I'll see you one day.
Yes, I did that steps and it was
Mm,
helpful. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm. So I think it's been a very great conversation. I don't know if I have any other question.
Yeah.
Um,
If anyone does, I do have notes. I have a lot of notes. I'll just right now randomly tell you my thoughts.
mhm,
Writing notes was a waste of time. I don't know why I did it, but because I like to write, I wrote it.
mhm.
So I do have notes system wise if anyone wants that. I do have a list of important topics that I can send over your way so you can probably post it in the group,
Correct.
or so, and also what I noticed was that trauma was very important. So trauma algorithms are very important. For example, in CVS
Hmm.
and emergency settings. So I did have ECGs. I
Hmm.
had a few ECGs in which I had to figure out what to do next. For
Yeah.
that, you need to know trauma settings and the algorithm of CPR. Um, and another thing that was important in trauma was respiratory wise. Chest, what do you call it, pneumothorax,
Okay.
etc., and the management of such. So I do know a few important topics. If anyone wants to talk to me about that, what to focus on during your dedicated, it was kind of more like um, everything I gathered from everywhere, and basically at the end, what was actually there in the exam. And if anyone would like to discuss that with me, you
I
can
think that
post.
they would love it, and I would love to have it and share with
Yeah,
them as well.
yeah,
And
I would definitely love to share that. Mhm.
yeah. Does anyone have any questions to ask? You can write. questions now and then ask Dr. Tania, very, very experienced in step two. So, so that she can answer them for you.
Yeah.
If anyone has any question, just type it below in the inbox, and then Dr. Tanya will answer them. Any doubts that you want to clear, yeah, it's very possible to do step two before step one because some people are practicing already and then they have the clinical knowledge. So
Yeah.
I don't want to throw that away and come and start step one. So that's understandable if you feel that you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people have a lot of clinical knowledge and they're more comfortable with the step two than step one. And now it's that step one is pass or fail. It's becoming more obvious to the boards that step one isn't, the
Yeah.
primary focus of what doctors should know.
Yeah.
Understood. Mm.
And just to add something, like even though step one is becoming pass or fail, people who have the three digits off from step one previous scoring system, um, program directors are still looking at the three digit score. So whatever you present to them, that is what they are going to look at.
Yeah,
So if you give them step one scores, they will look at it as such. As such, if you give them pass or fail, they will look at it as such. That's what
yeah,
in this cycle.
that is true. That is true. And if you get more than your step one, that's actually a really good sign for them. They would love that.
They will love that. And
Step
that was
two and three, yes. I just saw this question, step two and three, because I actually try to attempt step three questions, and there is a bit of a difference. I would say that it's not easy as people think it is. I feel like it's like a step ahead of step two. Basically, that's what it is. And there are more. They will test you more. They will throw more red herrings. They will confuse you more. It's like something you would know if you're a practicing physician. It would come second, like it would come really easy to you. But if you're just at home and giving exams, it's not that easy of an exam.
that makes sense. Currently, I am doing this. I'm studying for step three, and
Yeah, how is it?
I'm studying for step three, and I also work as a nurse. Right, one day
Mm,
on my whole journey, I work as a nurse here in
okay.
while studying for steps. So uh,
Oh,
the things doctors give orders, and I see I implement it, but um, well, I implement from the nurse's perspective. Sometimes I ask questions. Sometimes it makes sense because I've studied step. But it's like I need to learn more maybe from residency. But if I look, some of the step three, the CCS cases, whatever orders that they want you to put in, I see all of them in the hospital. You know. So yes, for that side but I've not really done a lot of U world questions.
hmm,
I've only done 11%, and it's not far from. I've done medicine 11%, so it's not far from what we did for step two. For step two, right? Um,
hmm,
what I noticed is that because I left some space in between the time I wrote step two and now, I have
yeah.
forgotten. Last time I misdiagnosed cystic fibrosis. You
Uh-huh.
know, emphysema, but I misdiagnosed it. So I think writing the exams close together, like close together, is very important. Don't leave any long gaps, and don't go more than 1 month with.
That's true. That's true. If you are writing the exam. And as for your case for us being a nurse versus a doctor, I feel like even doctors can learn a lot from nurses. It's like, it's like a teamwork. Medicine is a teamwork. And that's how we should take it as we're here to learn. We learn from our juniors, we learn from our seniors. And I feel like that's the only way you can move ahead is by learning new things and helping people, you know, teaching them the things that you learned, because that way it enforces your knowledge too. That way it builds a stronger base of foundation for your knowledge. So if you're the kind of person who love to learn and teach, because I like to learn, okay, I'm going to study this and I'll tell you and I'll explain to you from my perspective, because maybe you missed something and maybe I missed something you could tell me.
Yeah,
So it's like a teamwork. It's really beautiful.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love to teach. I love to like share knowledge with people. Like if I come across anything that like I feel like this is a breakthrough, this is a simple way of analyze things, then I want to share with somebody.
Exactly. Me too. Me too. I can understand.
It's a way of making the world a better place in my own small way.
I know. I do not. I don't know how it's gonna be when I'm a resident, but I know that I want my juniors to be comfortable enough to ask me questions and to be able to teach them instead of looking down on them. Because I've been at that place, and there's gonna be times as an attending or physician, I'll be at a place where I don't know something, and a nurse can teach me or a technician can teach me, and I feel like it's really about being humble. This is what this profession teaches us.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they say like most people who are successful, they have a very good relationship with all the teams in the hospital.
Hmm.
Like even the cleaner, like everybody, you have to be cordial with everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You respect everybody, definitely. I understand.
Because if that cleaner doesn't wipe the water from the floor, you're going to slip in it and you can't come to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yep. That's if anyone has any question, this is the time to put it in. If you are just joining us, we invited Dr. Tania to our channel today to interact with everybody. She has been successful on step two CK, which is the most important exam right now. If you are considering residency, and she had a very high score on it. You can all see that 260. Yeah.
Same as you. Yes, we work hard, and
Right?
I really I like what you're doing. That you're helping people, and that's what I want to do as well. I like that. Hmm.
Awesome. You're invited on board. And my subscribers, they will really love to have you.
Hmm.
Um, um, so let's give some time to anyone who wants to ask any question about any of the steps, whether step one, step two, step three, or if it's residency. I've done a couple of interviews as well, and then the match. I think from tomorrow or tomorrow next, the match rank order list will open, and then we have a whole of February to rank the programs, and by March 13, we should know where we are going. Yeah,
Nice. That's amazing. That's congratulations for everything you did. You're doing good. Doing good work out here.
thank you, and you have done great too.
Well, I just passed one hurdle. I
Hey,
still have a lot to go.
hey, I think your strategy has been like is very good because you knew your stronghold and you went for it, and now you've secured that area.
Yeah.
But
That's
never by step two again. You have your high score. It will still remain high in the next 10 years. It's still a high score. Yeah.
uh,
So that's a
it's
big.
all God's grace. All God's grace.
We thank God for that.
Thank God. Yeah.
So if you are just joining us, you can ask Dr. Tanya any questions that you have. Thank you, Abdul Ali.
Yeah.
Thank you. We hope. Can you tell us where you are watching from and what you are studying for right now? That would be helpful if you can type that to us. So Dr. Tanya I invited her to come and share her experience with all of you. And so if you have any question, this is the time to ask her. It could be about step one, I'll answer that. Step two, she will answer that. If it's step three, I can talk about that as well. Go ahead. So Dr. Tanya, how did your family take the whole journey? Because it was kind of different for me.
Why? You
Um,
tell me your experience
yeah,
first.
I'll tell you my experience with family. It was more like go take the exam, you are good, they think I am good to go. They believe that hey, I'm going to pass. But I know myself that my NBMAs are not telling me same. So I have to wait a little more. That was more in step one. My NBMAs were not telling me to go and take it. So I wasn't going ahead. And of course, I knew my weaknesses. And
Hmm.
so it was like, go take it, go take it, go take it, because it's like my success or my delay is putting everybody on hold. Like no one can progress without me, And so if I'm not happy, nobody is happy. If I'm not happy, I cannot help people to do other things. And I'm always in the library studying, and that wasn't helpful. My dad was sick. My dad was sick. I wish I spent more time with him, But right after I passed my step, like I think I passed step two September, like second week of September, and on August 20, no, October 26th, my dad passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know about that.
So yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice for me. It was a lot of sacrifice. Yeah, it hurts like to exchange your scores for time with your dad before he passes. It's I wish things could have been different. It's hard. Yeah.
I understand that point where we have regrets in what we do. Um, there is this profession actually kind of takes out a lot of us, like personal lives and the relationships we have with people around us. I've suffered a lot because of that too, because I could not balance the two things, being in a relationship or having someone connected to you like that. And I mean, I'm really sorry for your loss. I haven't had it as hard as you, definitely not. But for that point, I would say, um, you had to do what you had to do. It's not that you were doing it for yourselves, but also people around you. So even though the loss is there, you tried your best and you did your best. You did what you think you was your best. And that's what we can actually do as physicians. I mean, there are a lot of times where we want to blame ourselves and take up all the world's problems on us, but it's really impossible to do that unless we help ourselves. We cannot help others around us, you know? And to be at that point, to be emotionally strong, to be emotionally like dealing with death, dealing with the loss of life, even in your family. It takes a very, very courage, a lot of courage that medicine kind of builds up in you. At the same time, you keep your humanity. While you deal with people, you let it humble you. You don't let it make your ego too big. So it's really good that you're helping everyone out. Obviously, God's been blessing you. You've done nothing wrong. I mean, you've done everything you could. I'm pretty sure you seem like an amazing human being to me.
You. So how did your family take the whole
My
thing?
family is just chill. I'm sorry. They're okay. They just want me to be fine. I mean, there were a lot of times where they want to party and I'm like, "No, I don't want to go out." They'd be like, "Go out and go here, go for family dinners." I'm like, "I don't want to. I have to study." They would force me to go out. They wouldn't, it was completely different from your situation. I mean, you know, um my family's quite different, I guess. But they were supportive, definitely supportive. They had a lot of support. They morally supported me, financially supported me. So I'm very grateful to God and them that they were there for me. And no one really forced me to give my exam. I was forcing myself. It was more of like, I think the push and pull is within us rather
Okay.
than externally. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you had you had a supportive family. It's very necessary. It's necessary, like that support, and like
You
people, and no matter how long you want to stay and study, like they are okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that is very necessary. Not everyone understands it that way, and then
And
people also have their life. Let's say like you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like they also have their life before you join them. So if you want to use your exam to hold people hostage, then they are going to walk out. Yeah, like, a lot of people experience that, but hey.
I feel like it's a part of life. Sadness, highs and lows are a part of life, and we need to learn to deal with them as physicians, not only for ourselves but for our patients.
Yeah. So, Dr. Tania, it looks like we are not getting any other questions right now, and it's an honor to have you interact with viewers. And this video is gonna be on YouTube, and then a lot of people are going to watch it. Maybe the time zone is not the best right now. It will
That's
be
fine.
Asia. It will be midnight in Africa. So yes, we will leave this on YouTube, and more questions are going to come. And I know you've also subscribed, right? So
Yes.
questions.
Thank you for this opportunity for coming on board here, and I'll keep in touch with you, and I'll let you know the discussion of the topics so we can help other people. Towards their dedicated. I think dedicated is where people kind of, you know, they get really stressed out. Yeah, like we go all over the place because it's right before your exam.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And to the viewers, we'll say thanks for joining us tonight. Tonight
Mhm.
it's 6 p.m. here, so this evening, and we'll talk to you again in the next video. Just let us know whatever you want us to talk about, and we can come to you again. Okay. And we'll say bye.
Bye. Okay.